Capture Sphere, Flash, Enchanted Creature. When it enters the battlefield, tap Enchanted Creature. Doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. All right, so we were talking about how, like, 3-mana pacifisms. 3-mana pacifisms were just, like, always good. This is one more card. It's basically a pacifism effect, except it has Flash, which means that you can play it during your opponent's combat. You can wait for them to use their pump effects or play their haste creatures or what have you, and then you play it. Or you play it on their end of turn when they've, like, already decided what creatures to attack with, and then you tap down a vital blocker. I think this card is better than the 3-mana pacifism. Hey, Houseboat1202, thanks for the sub there. Thanks for sharing that Twitch Prime. Yeah, and as such, I think it's one of the better commons in the set. I could be wrong. That's what I think right now. That's what it looks like to me. Locks up guild mages. Yeah, that's true. The pacifism doesn't actually do that, does it? The guild mages didn't really impress me for the most part. Like, a lot of their abilities seem like perfectly costed to not be overpowered. Very different from guild mages we've seen in the past. But we'll get to those in a bit. Gonna be splashed a lot? Yeah, I could see that for sure. Is it better than the pacifism because Convoke is in the format? I don't know how much Convoke matters with pacifisms, because you don't want to pacifism the dorks that are turning on Convoke. You want to pacifism like their top end. You want to hit like their Siege Worm or whatever the fuck, whatever they're trying to ramp into, right? You don't want to hit their Piddlers anyway. All right, Chemist's Insight. It's an inspiration, 4-mana, draw 2 cards, and then Jumpstart. You can cast it from your graveyard by discarding a card. I think this card's fine. The first time I read it, I was like, oh, that's nuts. Because I remember just, like, casting, like, Catalog and Inspiration and stuff before. But it's probably just fine. Worse than the, than just, like, Scry 4, draw 2 cards. Probably worse than just, like, Scry 3, draw 2 cards, too. I guess the Scry 2, draw 2 cards has been seeing play in Modern, though. So, maybe the card's still nuts. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, if it's better than Glimmer, it's going to see a lot of play. I'm not 100% that it's better than Glimmer, but if it is, absolutely. It's a draw 3, loot 1. Yeah, but, I mean, that's 8 mana. You know, you can't discredit the fact that you have to pay another 4 mana to get the added value. 100% not better than Glimmer. I'm not giving it 100%, but it could even be worse than Glimmer and still see constructed play, right? Because Glimmer was really, really good. People played it in mid-range. People played it in control. Anyway, you like the idea of surveilling it for value and then jump-starting it later. Yeah, you could do that. Seems solid. I think Surveil is going to be pretty fucking playable in this format, too. And you're, like, grinding control decks with the way to gain value there. Probably just worth it.
Oh shit, what up?
Holy shit. We got some gifted subs here for one Bad Karma Delivery. Fucking thanks, Bad Karma Delivery. Congrats to Filthy Casual, Big Balls 420 Blaze, Shaman 04, Hazon Tamar, and Danzam 111. Congrats, folks, and thanks again, Bad Karma Delivery. Fucking sweet. I'm gonna drop some corns in the chat real quick. Gifting subs is awesome. Love it. Do I feel like Jumpstart is a bad mechanic? It seems like a worse retrace. Yeah, but the thing about it is, like, it's obviously not as good as we retrace, because you can't just do it over and over and over again or whatever.
Shit, what up?
But it doesn't have to be. When you make the mechanic worse, it means that you can put them on cards with better stats. Cards that are more interesting to cast the first time around, and you get to pump up the power level of your enablers. So if the graveyard value ability was better, if they was like retrace instead of jumpstart, then the cards that put cards into your graveyard would have to be worse. So the format's like adjusted on power levels in different ways. You can't just hate on a mechanic or like compare a mechanic directly to a mechanic from another format, because it's not the same format. They're existing in different settings, right? Doing different things. Hey, Steelman, thanks for the sub there. Thanks for sharing that Prime. Appreciate it. City Watch Sphinx. 6 mana for a 5/4 flyer. When it dies, you surveil 2. This card, there's a few cards in this format that remind me of the 6-mana 4/4 flyer that scries 2 when it comes into play, and that card is great. That card is phenomenal. This card has 1 more power, but 6 mana for a 5/4 flyer would be good and limited just already. So tacking on the death ability, sweet, awesome. I'm on board. Your opponent wants to kill your 5/4 flyer, or they're just gonna die. And if they're like murdering your face, then you can play it, trade with one of their better creatures, get your value, find the next thing, get ready to stabilize. Yeah, sweet card, sweet. Why is this an uncommon, but the 3/4 with it is a common? Because this is larger. I can't remember if the 3/4 is flying or not, but it's mostly that this is larger. Yeah, 5 power is more than 3. Any noteworthy white cards? Kinda. None that really got my jimmies rustling. All right, Dazzling Lights. 1 mana, target creature gets -3/-0, and then you surveil 2. Yeah, I don't know. I'm never really sure. I'm never really sure about these blue tricks that reduce power. Every once in a while, I see a strong player like playing them to good effect. Like they find the right deck or the right situation for them. Obviously, Surveil 2 is not bad, not too shabby. It's probably just fine, right? Probably actually just fine. It'll be the 23rd card in a lot of decks. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Devious Cover-Up. 2 white, counter a spell. If it's countered this way, exile it instead of putting it in their graveyard. You may shuffle up to 4 target cards from your graveyard into your library. Interesting. Interesting. So like kind of a sweet limited mechanic. Because whatever your bombs were, if the opponent managed to deal with them, you get them back into your deck. It's a little bit better in sealed than draft. In draft, the games aren't going to go that long. It's just like not as slow. And your deck's not as bomb heavy. But in sealed, it's a lot of haymakers and it's a lot of removal smashing into each other. So shuffling 4 cards from your graveyard into your library while you're countering a spell, while you're like exiling your opponent's value jumpstart spell, could be really good. Yeah, I think this card's gonna be actually pretty strong in sealed, and like not nearly as good in draft, but will probably still show up in the right archetypes. Oh, someone just pointed out that the 2 devious cover-ups can prevent you from decking if you're playing like way too much self-mill in your limited deck. I could see that. I could see that. Dimir Informant, it's a horned turtle that surveils 2 when it comes into play. Card seems great. Seems awesome. I love a horned turtle. You put value on a horned turtle, it just suddenly becomes really good. Recently we had a horned turtle that just like gave you a treasure token, and it was like a key piece of the limited format. This one surveilling 2 just seems fucking fantastic. All not good enough for constructed, right? No, not good enough for constructed. But goddamn, it's almost worth thinking about. Ba-doop-boop-boo. Stainful Stroke, counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. Yeah, it's a reprint, but it's a pretty important reprint. Pretty important reprint in the old Convoke Teferi format, you know? It's a card that non-super dirtily controlled decks can main deck. And it's not going to be dead very often. Card seems sweet. Dream Eater is a card that has a lot of text on it. A lot. 6 mana for a 4/3 flash flying. 6 mana for a 4/3 flash flyer is like that would be like playable and limited, but not exciting for constructed. But then the rest of this makes it start to look interesting. So it enters the battlefield, surveil 4. 4 is a lot. 4 is a lot of cards to look at. This Dream Eater will find you another piece of business. That is just what's going to happen every time. And then when you surveil, you can return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. So this Dream Eater bounces your opponent's best thing on the end of turn or mid-combat or whenever you want to play your 6 mana flash flyer. And then it also finds you, I don't know, the next Dream Eater. Just chain them for eternity. Who knows? 4 is a lot. 4 is a lot. You think Mythic is wrong for this? Well, you should probably play with it first. That's a lot of text. Anytime you're dealing with a card that just has a lot of text on it, you should play with it before you're like, this. I don't. Yeah. Maybe you mean it doesn't feel mythic because of like it's just like not large enough or whatever. I don't know. The art seems mythic to me. The like wall of text seems sweet. I think this card's going to see a lot of play. I think it's going to make people sad. Yeah, Surveil 4 is a mythic level of that ability, because most of the Surveils are like 1 or 2 or some piddly number. 4 is like the most, right? That's the most Surveil on anything. If you're like comparing the epicness of the card, that's like the one piece of it that's really like over the top. We just had Gear Hulk. Yeah, but it's kind of like a self-contained Gear Hulk, right? It's got flying. The stats aren't as large as Torrential Gear Hulk. It's not a 5/6. It can't just like eat a creature mid-combat or whatever. At least not a large creature, but it does have flying, so that's like it kind of makes up for it. And then you're Surveil 4 and bouncing a card. So would you play a 4-mana card that's Surveil 4, bounce an opponent's permanent? It's like, yeah, it's kind of playable. You'd probably play that for somewhere between 2 and 4 mana or whatever. It's like an exciting card to put in your deck. It's certainly not bad, right? And then, I mean, it's kind of like your Torrential Gear hulking that back, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm less certain the Dream Eater is unexciting. I want to play with it. I'm still on the I want to play with this card a lot, and I think I want to play with 4 of them. Drowned Secrets, 1 in a blue. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Yeah, people were talking about this as a self-mill enabler. Golgari wants to have creatures in the graveyard. And then there's a lot of value with Jumpstart and things like that, things of that nature. It also could just deck your opponent if the limited format is dirtly enough. It is a rare, though. It is a rare. So it's not going to happen a super lot. Isn't Golgari black-green? It is, but that doesn't mean you can't play 3 colors. This is a format with a shit ton of fixing, just like all the fucking fixing in the world. So you can certainly play Sultai, right? You can certainly play bug colors. There's like a pile of guild gates and stuff. Most of your limited decks, I don't think are going to be straight 2 colors. I think Boros probably wants to stay straight 2 colors. You probably don't want to mix too many colors in with your Boros decks because you just want to curve out. You don't want like a ton of guild gates or whatever. But I think most of the other color combinations are going to be playing like 3 or 4 colors a lot of the time. 5 colors soups on the menu. Definitely on the menu. Absolutely. Enhanced Surveillance. 1 in a blue. You may look at an additional 2 cards each time you surveil. You can exile it to shuffle your graveyard into your library. So you churn through your deck, and then this prevents you from decking once you've gone through your whole deck or whatnot. I think this card's good. Looking at an additional 2 cards each time you surveil. When you're like really building around an engine, this sort of card, just dropping it on turn 2, and could really make that engine hum. Just find the find the very specific cards you're looking for each time. It's almost powerful enough that if there was something interesting with Surveil as a mechanic and constructed, almost. It stacks too. Like if you have 2 of these down, they're each going to add another 2, right? You just look at them. You don't Surveil for +2. Oh, really? Yeah, you're probably right. So you would Surveil for 1. You would look at 3 cards and only bin 1 of them. Right? No, it is 4. Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense to me. To not be able to bin them or whatever. Yeah, I agree. That wouldn't make any sense. The first time I read it, it was that that was like what was intuitive to me was that you're just like adding 2 to all of your surveils. But yeah, I don't know. Most of the surveils are for like 1 or 2, so you're basically doubling the effectiveness of all of them. We were just talking about how like Surveil 4 was like an almost epic feel, so I don't know how many times you need to surveil for the card to be worth it. I'm guessing twice. I'm guessing twice, which seems pretty easy to do because the first surveil card is setting up the next one and so on and so forth. This is the sort of card that's like really hard to evaluate and until you actually play in the format, but could do busted things. Guild Summit. 2 in a blue. When it enters the battlefield, you may tap any number of untapped gates you control. Draw a card for each gate tapped this way. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. I actually kind of hate cards like this. It's a draw engine that rewards you for taking everyone else's fixing. Not that there's like not enough fixing in the format or whatever, but that's That's a not a card that I would have designed, I guess. With a gate in every pack, it's a bit easier. Yeah, no, there's gonna be enough gates to prime your guild summit. That's not the part that I'm worried about. Now this card can draw 3 or 4 cards pretty reliably if you have the right deck. If you have the right deck, right? White, blue, black, red, green. Noki 8. All right, Leapfrog. Tuna blue. Leapfrog is flying as long as you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. Sure, yeah, whatever. It's not amazing. It's not great, but if you get a hit, if you get in a hit or two without the enabling, you got some other evasive creatures. It's kind of fillerish. I can certainly see the right deck where you just have like a ton of leapfrogs and a lot of like cantripping spells and stuff. Maximize altitude. 1 blue. Target creature gets +1/+1 and flying until end of turn. Jumpstart. Yeah, so you can like altitude another creature and it'll like jump the leapfrog, just like murder people in 2 hits. Mission briefing is one that had a lot of people talking. Maybe it's a hard card to evaluate. Blue, instant. Surveil 2, then choose an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. So a lot of people, I think, get confused because the card kind of reminds them of Snapcaster. You're paying 2 mana, you choose a card in your graveyard, and then you can flash back. But this seems like a worse regrowth, right? The cool thing about Snapcaster isn't that you get to flash back a card, or that you get to flash back a card at instant speed. It's that you get to flash back a card, and you get a 2/1 body attached, right? Someone did a comparison on Twitter that was like, so the difference between Recollect and Eternal Witness is the difference between Mission Briefing and Snapcaster Mage. Which is, you know, I mean, it's obviously anytime you make an analogy, it's not going to be like, wow, no, this one's slightly different because it has that. Obviously, you're not going to have like an exact comparison. It's an analogy, right? But it's pretty apt for figuring out just how good a 2/1 value body is. Now, Surveil 2 isn't nothing. It's not nothing, right? But it's definitely not as good as a 2/1 body. Reminds you of Recoup? Yeah, kind of. I've played Recoup before. Recoup, see, the thing about Recoup is that it gets you value, because you can play it twice. So Recoup is like closer to Snapcaster than this Mission Briefing card. You feel like if it was 1 in the blue, it'd be close to Snap? No. No, the casting cost, what the cost is doesn't matter a ton. It's just a term of raw value. Does it let you cast a sorcery at instant speed? What are my thoughts on it for limited? In limited, when you're dealing with highly situational cards like this, I mean, you're just gonna have to be playing a deck that has like 3 or 4 instant speed removal spells, and then it becomes interesting. And before then, you're just not. Yeah, I didn't think you could play it. It would allow you to do it at instant speed. You think it'll still be good? I'm not certain. I'm not certain that this card will be good. I don't know. I played a lot of Snapcaster Mage when it was in Standard, and that card I thought was like very, very clearly good. And this card is not. It's not that. To be fair to Mission Briefing, Recollect did see play, right? Even though it wasn't Eternal Witness, just the 2 and a green redraw, like bring 1 card back from your graveyard to your hand. It did see a little bit of Standard play, not like a ton, but like it was a one of in some decks for sure. It's a very niche play. I think Mission Briefing is close to that, but yeah, having access to your graveyard plus the top 2 cards gives it some weight. Yeah, I don't know about that. Because you're like it reminds me the Surveil 2 added onto it. Kind of reminds me of the new 3-mana Liliana with the down tick, where like sometimes you just have to like YOLO to try and hit. And certainly that has some value. Like the having access to 2 more cards has some value. But man, throwing a like YOLO desperation move on, I don't know. It's not enough. Put it in an Isochron Scepter? Oh man. Now that's a dirtly dream, huh? It's better twin cast, but not good enough twin cast. That's kind of how I'd put it, Henry, in games. That's about where I'm at. I could be wrong. Obviously, I haven't played with any of these cards, right? And there's nothing in like my asshole opinion isn't nearly as good as actually like hands-on testing. So if you like a card and you disagree with my assessment, it's not that like I'm saying you're wrong or whatever, or that the card is bad, but it doesn't excite me right now. All right, Murmuring Mystic, 4 mana for a 1/5. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue bird illusion creature token with flying. Yeah, this card like 4 mana for a 1/5 in limited is already not bad. That's a solid blocking body. And you don't need to trigger it very many times to go from not bad to very, very good. I think 2 times you have a very good card, and 3 times it starts to get busted. And this is a format where a lot of your instants and sorceries are finding you more instances of sorceries. And some of them you can even rebuy. So, yeah, I think I would not be surprised if this card was first pickable in limited. 4 mana is a lot for constructed, though. It would be like a pretty weird constructed format where this card would be super good, I think. It's just hard. It's just hard to play 4 mana for your creature, untap with it, and do enough things to have it be value. I did play a lot of Talrand back in the day, but that thing made 2/2 flyers. That thing made 2/2 flyers. A 1/5 body is way better than a 2/2 body. Comparing this card like straight up with Talrand, a 1/5 body is much better because Talrand is a very fragile card, right? A lot of cards kill that. Not very useful in combat. Like this card, it also doesn't have flying. So the 1/5 body is better, but man, hard to make enough 1/1s to kill someone. 1 spell at a time. Muse Drake, 4 mana for a 1/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. I think this card is quite good. I think this card's real good. I don't know what the limit is on number of them I would put into a deck, but I think it's quite good. Recently, we had a 3 mana 1/1 colorless creature that when it came into play, you would draw a card. And I never played more than like 2 or 3 of it, but I never really saw more than 2 or 3 of it. And this is a card that's isolated to 1 color. So if blue's open, you might just have like a lot of them in your deck, and that might just be fine. A 1/3 body is so much more useful in combat than a 1/1. What if it made 4/4 angels instead? Oh, the Murmuring Mystic? Oh man. Oh man, what if it did make 4/4 angels instead? Maybe you're onto something. Narcomoeba, now a rare. I think they wanted to have Narcomoeba be in the format for the constructed. They wanted Narcomoeba to be in the format so that when you're brewing around Surveil for constructed, you'd have the ability to get this value 1/1. And they didn't want it to destroy the limited format. They found out that it was just like too good in limited. You were having this like constructed worthy card just like popping out or whatever. And I think that's why they reprinted it at rare. Makes sense. Should probably see some standard play then, right? Probably gonna see some standard play. Nightveil Sprite, 2 mana for a 1/2. Whenever it attacks, Surveil 1 has flying. Nightveil Sprite reminds me a lot of the 2 mana 1/1 looter that has to attack. Has to hit the opponent, and then you get to loot. It's got a shadow or whatever. Reminds me a lot of that card. It is worse than that card. Surveiling 1 is much worse than looting. Lurking Informant. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's constructed worthy. It's like obviously good and limited, right? Anytime you have any kind of value evasion creature in limited, it's gonna be sweet. But I don't think it's good enough for constructed. Oh, play the Nightveil Sprite plus the enhanced surveillance, so you get to look at 3 cards. Oh man, yeah, that is exciting, isn't it? Yeah, welcome back, Journey's Guide 2. Put it in Modern Fairies, and it's a fairy. It is a fairy. Yeah, no. All right, 5 mana, 3/4 Human Wizard. You may cast an instant or sorcery card from your hand without paying its mana cost. So this is a card that can cheat a Cruel Ultimatum into play. Oh, man. All right, I've got the perfect chain. You're playing Legacy, right? You sneak attack this into play, gets haste, you activate it, you cast Cruel Ultimatum. How do you lose? How do you lose that game? That's right, you don't. You don't. Too bad there's no way for the Cruel to get back the Omnispell Adept. No, I don't think this card's good. I don't think it's gonna see constructed play. But man, what a casual powerhouse, right? People are looking up Apex of Power. 7 red. Exile the top 7 cards to your library until end of turn. You can cast non-land cards exiled this way. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Passwall Adept. 2 mana for a 1/3. 2 mana for a 1/3 can be good in some limited formats. I don't know if this is going to be one of those limited formats, but it has an ability. 3 mana, target creature can't be blocked this turn. I think that is a good ability in the format. So this card's probably just good. Probably just fine. There are a lot of creatures with good defensive stats. So being able to make things unblockable is solid. It reminds me of the... there was a Merfolk that did this, right? A 2 mana 2/1, and then for 5 mana you could make something unblockable. That card was fucking solid. This one, the stats are a little bit less aggressive. It's 2 mana for a 1/3, but only using 3 mana to make something unblockable means it's way easier, way more possible to get multiple activations in the same turn. Yeah, Coralhelm Guide. Yeah, so by the time Coralhelm Guide was activating twice, this card will be activating 3 times with mana to spare. Mini Thassa. Yeah, Mini Thassa is still good enough, huh? All right, Quasi-Duplicate. 1 blue. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Jumpstart. Yeah, this card's good. The last time we saw a creature or a card that could do that, though, it was like instant speed, right? Didn't that card also have a flashback? Wasn't that also a target creature you control? That card wasn't busted. You can hear me swallow. Oh, my bad. I'll try not to swallow in the future. I'll just like fucking rub the moisture into my hair and get the water into me that way. No, I know you weren't complaining. Yeah, Cackling Counterpart. Yeah, that one had flashback. And it was instant. This card seems worse than that. You could probably get like a little bit worse than Cackling Counterpart and still be like pretty good for limited. But I'm not excited. You can hear me talking. Please do less of that. Oh, my bad. My apologies. All right, Radical Idea. 1 in a blue instant draw card with Jumpstart. Man, this card is just not on the same level as Think Twice, is it? It's just not on the same level as that card. Still fine. Still being able to like mill this with Surveil and then cycle a card from your hand it's fine. It's filler. It's fine. Fine filler. Filler fine. It'll be all right. Selective Snare. 1 blue X. Return X target creatures or the creature type of your choice to their owner's hand. Interesting stuff. So if your opponent's trying to dirtle around with token producers, like say Celestia, for example, Selective Snare is going to be able to bounce all of those tokens because they're all going to be of the same creature type. If they're using the 1 enabler to make tokens over over like several turns, for example. A lot of the time, though, this is just going to be like a sorcery speed on summon in limited play, which is kind of obnoxious. I'm going to sideboard this card more often than I main deck it, I think. You wish it was instant? I kind of wish it was instant, too. Especially because some of the token producers are instant. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I'll get right on that Ugly Puff. Just start over for you. Sinister Sabotage. 1 blue. Counter target spells. Surveil 1. Yeah, Surveil is better than Scry. And the cancel that had Scry 1 attached was really good. So this is going to be also really good standard play. One of the top constructed uncommons, standard playable uncommons for sure. I like it. Good shit. Obviously good and limited too, you know. Thought-bound Phantasm. 1 mana for a 2/2 defender. Whenever you surveil, put a 1/1 counter on it, and then if it has 3 or more 1/1 counters on it, it can attack as though it didn't have defender. So this is the sort of card where if you draw in the late game, you're just sad because you have a 1 mana 2/2 with defender. And this is the sort of card where if you play it on turn 1, you can just actually murder some people. It's like play it, rattle off some surveil cards, just go to town. There's definitely going to be decks that just have They're the only deck that can like take advantage of it. They're just gonna be getting late Thoughtbound Phantasms. They're just gonna murder your face. Yeah, if you have enough enablers for it, pretty good. Oh, it is a spirit. That's right. Is it good enough for modern banned spirits? Oh, probably. But 1 mana 2/2. Modern banned spirits needed more 1-drops, right? Hey, TK8778. Thanks for the resub. Thanks for the 15 months. TK8 says this set looks so dope. I agree. I wasn't like super pumped as the individual cards were coming out, but now that I'm like reading the set more and getting a feel for it, I'm getting really excited. Surveil 4, get 1 counter. Yes, it's whenever you surveil, you get a 1/1 counter on it. So no matter how much the surveil is for, you're just going to be getting one more 1/1 counter. But you only need 3, and then it's a fucking 5/5, right? Unexplained disappearance. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Surveil 1. Sure. Yeah, whatever. Vidalcan Mesmerist. 2 mana for a 2/1. Yeah, I should like talk about this for a little bit more. A card like this is going to have diminishing returns, right? There's only so many unsummon effects you can put into your deck before there's just like not enough air to actually win the game. Your opponent's just like replay their threats and kill you. But you're pretty much never going to cut the first one, and there are going to be decks that want multiple if they're like trying to get damage in, trying to get key blockers out of the way. And you can bounce your own creatures if your opponent's like pacifying them or whatever. You can use this to reset them. Vidalcan Mesmerist, 2 mana for a 2/1. Whenever it attacks, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-0 until end of turn. Yeah, it's a fine attacking ability. Makes it harder for the opponent to eat your stuff. Sure, yeah, whatever. Wall Mist, 2 mana for an 0/5 defender. I've played a lot of Wall Mists lately. I'm probably going to keep on playing a lot of Wall Mists. Sometimes you just need like early blockers, you know, while your dirtily as fuck deck takes time to set up. Watcher in the Mist is a 5 mana 3/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you surveil 2. Yeah, this card is pretty nuts for a common. This is probably one of the better commons in the set. I was looking over like my short list of cards that I thought were just like nutty limited cards. And it was like Watcher in the Mist and then like a bunch of removal spells. Yeah, card's great. And then we got the Wisconsin Crab, 4 mana for a 2/5. What wishes do they grant? Mostly pinching related ones. Fantastic.